The choir, and the artists, and the orchestra, and our conductors, they're always front and center. But I don't think people really have a complete picture of is how many people it takes behind the scenes to actually produce this fabulous Christmas concert.
I work with a team of coordinators.
Stage manager and property manager.
The production manager.
Lighting designer.
Team of engineers. The director.
The stage manager.
The producer.
The administrative manager.
The event services manager.
We have one of the best crews, I think, in the United States, because we're producing right now a program for PBS during Christmas time.
Yes.
This cat is like the hardest one to do lighting on.
One of the other difficulties in producing a show like this is that I have two main audiences. I have a television audience and I have a live audience, and I cannot let either one of those suffer. We want the people that are in the hall to feel that intimacy of being right there with the choir and the orchestra and the guest artists. We want them to be able to feel like, if you're watching this on television, that you're right there listening to them and you're sitting right next to them without getting in the way of the actual people that are in the hall. So it's really hard to try to serve both audiences, the broadcast and the live.
There aren't any other theaters in the world that have a proscenium 140 feet wide and 72 feet tall. And so everything is a long ways from everything else.
Once the number starts, we'll just slowly work her up there.
So there's this little prayer.
Okay.
And then the horns come in. And the choir will stand on this downbeat.
The first time we have any guest artist walk into the facility, there's always the jaw-dropping wow moment.
Wow, the size.
And that's actually one of our very favorite things, is to be on stage, to welcome them to the conference center, and then to watch as they walk on stage and look at this fabulous hall. Just give them a moment to kind of let it sink in.
It's a magnificent hall. Wonderful. Wonderful to perform in.
There is no other facility like this. It's the largest auditorium in the world.
The nearest venue that even comes close that is a theater of this size is about half.
21,000 people, that's a stadium. That's incredible. And yet, in the hall, because it's designed so well in the round, it feels far more intimate than it is.
When it's full, it seems completely intimate. And the sound is very beautiful.
The size of this building also means that everything that you put into it has to have an equal large size to it, or it looks very diminutive on the stage. So we have to build a set that is about 200 feet wide, and then also have visual elements that go up to 125 feet up in the air, with stars and with the pipes and with the color that we put on the background on the back set.
We distribute, free to the public, almost 100,000 tickets for the 4 concerts that happen at Christmas time here with the Tabernacle Choir. The day that we begin distribution, we usually start about 10 o'clock in the morning, and all of those tickets are usually gone within about 2 hours. And then there's all the other things that go on behind the scenes, the setting up of the dressing rooms and taking care of the guest artists and the parking, the security, all those logistics that have to go on behind the scenes that no one really notices. They come in and enjoy the music.
This concert presents a number of challenges in that we have several different products that we have to think about while we're in the process. First and foremost is we're providing to the audience in the hall on the big projected screens the concert to enhance their experience as they view it live. The second part of the challenge is we have to acquire enough material so that we can, in the editing process, create a video version of the concert that stands alone. We use 11 to 12 cameras and tape for 5 different sessions during the week of the performances. We have cameras that are robotically controlled by operators that are not actually in the hall. These cameras are placed so that they minimize the impact on the audience. We also have handheld cameras that can get into places and get the kind of intimacy that helps us feel the spirit of the music. We also utilize in this concert 2 jibs. A jib is a camera that is mounted on the end of a very long arm that can create the feeling of a 3-dimensional movement through the choir and orchestra and as we shoot the guest artists. We rely on the artistry of those operators not only to just get a shot, but also to frame a shot in a way that is creative and that really enhances the visual experience. It's easy to point a camera and get a shot in focus, but it takes skill and artistry to make that shot interesting. The video control room in the process of this kind of production can be a madhouse because there is so much that's going on. We're directing anywhere between 11 or 12 cameras, and there are many people in different roles within the control room. You have a music reader who is tasked with keeping track of where we are in the music at any point in time. The director obviously is calling the camera shots in. Technical director is following the commands of the director in terms of selecting cameras and making transitions to other cameras. We're in contact with lighting so that the end result looks good. The producers are there guiding the process along from a creative vision. The video crew who are shading the cameras are part of the dialogue between the video director and the lighting director. And so all of those things are happening in tandem.
The team of engineers that work on this are some of the best in the business, and the care that is given to this and the quality of equipment that we use is always as good as we can provide. The processing and such, we have over 300 miles of cable in the processing equipment and where the show is switched, both between audio and video cabling. And so although that is very complex, we're fortunate that we're able to work with excellent equipment and excellent people. The fact that everything works and works smooth is due to the excellent engineering team who does their job and does it quietly behind the scenes.
Probably 70 years ago, the choir began recording with 1 microphone in the tabernacle. Since that time, we're up to probably 65 to 70 microphones. House uses even more than that. So a lot's changed over the last 70 years.
Most of the Christmas shows amount to in excess of 100 microphones on the stage. Every instrument has a mic. Every violin, every horn player, the flutes, clarinets, percussion, harps, everything is mic'd because we have to create what the audience is hearing.
A live program is extremely difficult to make perfect live. You're sliding microphones up. Nobody is exactly the same. You can do a rehearsal and they may not be exactly the same. So you may not have it in exactly the right place. And so you're making adjustments all the time.
The biggest problem in a room the size of the conference center is that the choir and orchestra can't hear each other. So a lot of the setup that is involved is setting up monitors so that the choir and orchestra can hear each other. The choir is actually 45 feet behind the orchestra, which means that when the orchestra hears the choir, they're late. Each microphone is split 3 ways. It goes to the broadcast console, which is what you hear over television. The sound then goes to the house console, which is what the audience hears within the house. It also goes to the monitor console, which is what the musicians and the choir hears through their monitors. So each microphone has 3 different things going on to it to make the show work.
My job is to make sure that the lighting supports everything that's happening on the stage. If there's quiet, pensive moments in the music, then the lighting needs to reflect that.
We just don't want the lights to be on. We want it to be magical. And the way you create that magic is usually that little extra effort, something that will really, get a gasp or a response that we would like to create for that mood.
Lighting has to be subordinate to what the music is doing. Preparation that we do goes over several months to light this.
The lighting system in the conference center is a pretty amazing piece of technology. As far as we know, and this may have changed since the building was built, but at the time, it was the largest single integrated lighting system. There are about 5,000 individually controllable outlets in the building that can all be dimmed or turned on and off. We have a computer system that can control each of those individually.
You've got better than 2,000 instruments that have to be in place to do a show like this.
And that was one of the challenges of creating the conference center, was to have one system. It had to run actually 1,000 different lights or devices as part of a single unified system. As far as device quantity goes, we're probably in about the 10,000 range between moving lights and scrollers and fixtures and things like that. So it's a technological miracle, that we were able to have driven some of this technology and push it to create a lighting system for a room as large as the conference center.
The editing process is very involved and takes really quite a bit of time, about 3 months. We tape 5 different performances at 10 or 11 different cameras. That multiplies out to 55 to 60 hours worth of tape that we load into the editing system. Then the process begins of going through that material and really finding the best camera shots on a particular night, the best combinations of shots across different performances. It's a time-consuming process. We're using maybe almost twice as many shots in the edited version of the show. I think we block somewhere between 500 and 600 shots in the body of the concert. In our edited version, we're probably close to 1,000 shots.
The planning for the Christmas concerts each year actually starts many years before the Christmas concert. Because of the top name artists that we try to bring in, we have to coordinate their schedules. And so this can take 2 to 3 years in advance to actually put them on our schedule and us to be on their schedule.
We started the tradition when we came in the conference center of inviting a guest artist every year. Our first year we had Roma Downey from Touched by an Angel and the great Gladys Knight. And the second year we had the incomparable Angela Lansbury. And then the following year, Walter Cronkite.
Christmas Day dawned over the muddy fields, and both sides cautiously picked their way through the barbed wire.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. With every Christmas card I write.
Whoever the guest artist is, in many ways, skews the show in the direction that it will go. And every year, it's been different.
Frederica von Stade is fond of saying that there are a few brass rings in a performer's career, and performing with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir is definitely one of them. And many of our artists will really feel that way.
The quality of the music music making is so high. I almost fell down the first time we sang Lo How a Rose E'er Blooming when I heard that this choir of 360 people can sing perfectly in tune and hold pitch for a very long strophic song. I have to tell you, that is so difficult. I mean, small groups of singers, solo singers can't do that a cappella. That really impressed me.
Most of the guest artists that I work with seem to come away with a really wonderful feeling about the experience that they've had here. They all have said great things about how kindly they've been treated and just what a different experience it's been to work with our choir.
Not only have I had fun, I have been treated with enormous consideration and taken care of. I mean, any diva would be thrilled. This is pampering to the nth degree.
I've never met with such warmth and kindness and generosity. And you take that away with you. I'll take away with me the sound of that wonderful choir and the great expertise and elegant kindness of Craig. Because there was no room for them in the inn.
Truly the reigning diva on the planet right now in the world of sopranos is Renee Fleming. And she's accustomed to singing with the Berlin Philharmonic, the Vienna Philharmonic, the New York Philharmonic, the Boston Symphony, the Philadelphia Orchestra, and yes, now the orchestra at Temple Square.
The quality of the orchestra is also terrific, and that everybody volunteers is, well, it's obviously unique, that nothing else like this exists in the world.
Every member of the choir and every member of the orchestra is a volunteer. Not one person is paid.
What you see on the TV and what you hear in the recordings is people who just are there for the pure love of music, and it gives them a great medium to use their talents.
Within the orchestra, these are people who could be out there being paid professionally to play during the Christmas season. It's a sacrifice for them. This is their living that they're giving up because they are here playing for Christmas when they could be out playing gigs for other Christmas parties or symphony events or ballet or whatever it is. So for them, it's really a service of tremendous dedication.
I think you feel that spirit when they play because it really is a gift from their soul rather than a job.
For the most part, they're quiet, conscientious volunteers. They come, they sing, and they go home. And I think that many of them it doesn't really sink into them exactly what a great thing that they're doing in giving this Christmas gift to the world. I think they're proud. I think they're pleased to be of service. But I think they also recognize that no one of them was able to do it by themselves and that they're pleased to be a part of this wonderful undertaking.
The choir and the orchestra, I think they're always up. They're so used to going at such a full speed. Music and spoken word every Sunday, recordings, all of these other things. But the highlight of the year, other than General Conference, would be our Christmas concerts. And they're just getting better and better and better.
My associate, Mac Wilberg, is really one of the great musical treasures of our nation today, and I'm not exaggerating. He is an extraordinary musician, probably the most complete musician I've ever been around. It doesn't matter where you look, either as composer, arranger, conductor, pianist. He does it all. He's an amazing talent.
Writing for the Mormon Tabernacle Choir and the orchestra at Temple Square is what you would call driving a Rolls Royce. It's a wonderful organization to work for. One always has to be aware of the fact that things have to be learned very quickly. The choir really has very limited rehearsal time. We only rehearse on Thursday evenings and then sometimes a little bit on Sunday mornings.
A talent like Mac Wilberg comes along maybe once in a century, and to have that resource here on our staff is a remarkable blessing.
There is no other organization like the Tabernacle Choir. And to be able to put a one-of-a-kind organization into a one-of-a-kind facility and gain national exposure with that is a great blessing.
That doesn't happen by just one person. It happens by this concert of probably 1,500 people at one time, including the orchestra and the choir. That's a lot of people to get right on cue. That's what the miracle of these events are, is that it happens, that it works.
There's a warmth, there's a peace that comes with the program. And that's why I do it.
The people and the crew I get to work with are marvelous individuals. They all have a great sense of professionalism and responsibility. And it's a wonderful environment to spend time with people who are trying to do the same thing you're trying to do.
I'm grateful to have had an opportunity to be able to support an event like that, something that people enjoy, something that is very positive, something that's very uplifting, something that's faith-based.
Music isn't our mission, but sharing the things that we believe in is our mission, and we do that through the medium of music.
It does not cost our audience to come to our Christmas presentations, and I think in a certain sense we see it as a gift to not only the community, but because we're able to also broadcast it, it's somewhat our gift to the world.
I'm really grateful for the opportunity of serving. For me, it's a source of great joy.
Really, the magic of the Christmas concert is the musical performance of the choir and the guest artists that they bring. The message of Christ in Christmas.
People love the choir. People fly in from all over the world to hear the choir at Christmas time. And now, by this vehicle of Christmas with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir on PBS, the entire nation can be brought together in celebration of this great season with the music of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir.